On the southern tip of the Indonesian island of Sulawesi is a city called Makassar. For centuries, a tribal stronghold of the people of the region, legendary traders and shipbuilders and fearsome warriors who guarded the waters and sacred lands to the east. Today, it's a sprawling hub of more than 1 million people, off the radar of the outside world, but that just means it holds an incredible amount of secrets, especially when it comes to the food. If you ask the people of Makassar about their city, the cuisine is the first thing mentioned, an incredible melting pot of big flavors and ancient techniques, rare ingredients and the tastes of a dozen ethnic groups, all coming together into dishes unlike anywhere else, some of the most exciting and mind-blowing stuff we've ever tried on the channel. So today we're throwing ourselves into the madness, meeting the local legends and trying the specialties of the gateway between Southeast Asia and the South Pacific. It's a food trip to another world. Today on OTR. This is Indonesia, but maybe it's better explained as two countries. In the west, the islands of Java, Sumatra, and Borneo or Kalimantan. Modern infrastructure links to the outside world and 95% of the national population. In the east, well, it's different. Eastern Indonesia is less Southeast Asia than South Pacific. Wild and unexplored, the home to more than 1,000 different ethnic groups and places straight out of the Discovery Channel. The Spice Islands, Papua, Sulawesi. Of the 28 biggest cities in Indonesia, 27 are in the country's west. The only exception, well, of course, that's Makassar, on the southern tip of Sulawesi and the gateway to another world. Makassar is so remote that it's the same distance from Jakarta as it is from Darwin, Australia. And while the rest of Indonesia gets 12 million foreign tourists per year, Makassar sees only 8,000. Basically, no outsiders come here. Instead, it's the domain of the people of 4 fascinating and ancient local ethnic groups. There are the Makassaris, the ruthless warriors who once held a monopoly on the world's cloves and nutmeg. The Buginese, famous sailors and fishermen known for recognizing 5 separate genders, with priests or bisu considered neither male nor female. The Torajans of the nearby mountains are still to this day famous for their elaborate funerals, a part of their religion called the Way of the Ancestors. And there are the Mandaris, the legendary boat builders whose ancient ships cross the oceans and show up in Australian Aboriginal cave paintings. All of these groups make up one of the world's most unlikely cities, and together create a food culture like nowhere else on the planet. All right, so a couple of months ago we came down to Indonesia to tape a few videos that we'd sort of planned since we started the channel. I adore Indonesia. It's a country where I've spent a lot of time over the years. We taped those videos in Medan, which was always my home base in Indonesia. And I knew that when we were doing these kind of big stories about what is Indonesian food, we would get some pushback because this is a massive country, right? Indonesia is, it's the 4th largest country on earth. And I knew that taping in Sumatra, we'd have some pushback from people from Jakarta, from Bali, from other parts of the country saying, well, you need to come here. Obviously the food is diverse and different. That was the theme of our story. What I did not expect was how many comments we got. Let me read you a couple that I just recorded on my phone real quick when I was scrolling through this. Brother, Medan's food is amazing, but you haven't tried Makassar. We have a lot of Padang and Javanese food, but my eyes opened when I went to Makassar. You should go to Makassar for another culinary adventure of deliciousness. To me, the best food is in Makassar. And when I think of culinary cities in Indonesia, the first place that comes to mind is Makassar. I hope you can make a video there too. And so here we are. At the end of 2024, the Makassar government applied for UNESCO recognition, staking the city's claim to be the first place in Indonesia honored for culinary heritage. And while there were a lot of reasons given, from the melting pot of cultures to the natural ingredients, the first mentioned was this, Coto Makassar, the signature dish of the city and apparently the only way to start a day in South Sulawesi.
Coto kita ini lain daripada lain. Memang dari awal memang kita begini. Artinya yang terbaik lah begitu. Banyak kan itu Makassar kan banyak coto kan. Ada memang bumbu khusus kita ini. Ya.
When Makassar was founded way back in the 14th century, the city would grow quickly as the hub of the Southeast Asian spice trade. Boats from around the archipelago arriving every day with cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, and more, sold to buyers heading for Malacca or the harbors of the Silk Road. And almost from the beginning, while in the royal palace, chefs were making this, a stew of beef or water buffalo mixed with no less than 40 herbs and spices, the bounty of eastern Indonesia and the taste of Makassar. All right, so how do I explain why this is such a fascinating shoot for me? Other than the fact that this is the first time ever in OTR history that I don't know anything going in, and I'll get to that in a second, but I just want you to kind of understand when you think about Indonesia, which is this massive country, fourth largest country in the world, right? Like, as we said in our What is Indonesian Food video, it's wider than the continental United States. And this is a oversimplification. This is me talking, not, anthropologist, but I feel like as you explore Indonesia, everything you're watching from that side, everything over here, right? It's kind of draw a line in the middle, and everything over here, Sumatra, Java, Borneo, or Kalimantan. That's where you sort of see, it's Southeast Asia. It's an extension of Southeast Asia. It's still Indonesia. It has its own tastes and traditions, but it's Southeast Asia. There's similarities with things that you'll find in Thailand and Malaysia, the trading links and, but then on the other side, when you go this way, draw that line down the middle, and everything over here is just complete mystery. It's South Pacific. It's where you're looking at, more comparisons to Fiji, Vanuatu, to off the map, right? Like, it's a gigantic dark spot, especially in the world of food, that I have no idea, what to expect. And on that line, that's where you find Makassar, where we are. This is the gateway to Eastern Indonesia, and not just metaphorically. It's literally the gateway. The airport here is pretty much the connection for anyone who's going east, and so we're kind of at the gateway to a completely different world that I have no experience with. I'm really excited about it, and knowing as little as we know, coming in, I figured we needed to get a guide. So thankfully, friend of a friend down here in Makassar, Saiful, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, if there's one way we're going to start with breakfast, it has to be the iconic Coto Makassar, my first time ever trying it. Let me introduce you to Dr. Saiful Said, our host and guide for the day. He's a college professor and a veteran of the local food scene, one of many in the tourism field pushing for wider recognition for Makassar cuisine. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you hosting us.
You must be welcome. It's my pleasure.
What is this? Let's talk about the soup first.
Okay, so this is actually one of the traditional food in Makassar. And this traditional food should be the main food that you should taste when you go and visit in Makassar. So we call it coto. So in Bahasa Indonesia or Makassar language, coto means mix. So mix here means all kinds of meat inside the cow meat, and also all inside parts of the cow. It should be mixed inside. For example, this one, they have heart, they have lung, and they also have some
liver,
kidney, and then the cheek of the cow. Makassar, we can actually differentiate how the Makassar's people eat between another people except of Makassar. For example, when Japanese people or mostly Indonesian people, they mix their soto all in with the soup, for example, like this.
Okay.
But actually, for Makassar, they don't mix it like that.
Take a bite and then a bite of rice.
Yes, we buy the rice first and then we eat the soup. So that's always be continue until everything is end, everything is finished.
It's impossible for me to express what the flavor's like. There's peanut, there's meat. The heat from the chili is just mild, but it's there. But there's something about this warmth and combination of flavors that, again, I'm not the best at telling you what it tastes like, especially when it's a frame of reference that I don't have. This might be the best soup I've ever had in my life. This is so good. I could eat this every morning. And also the meat is just so good.
Yeah.
You know. But so I tried the heart, I tried the liver, I've tried the meat. There's a lot more to try, but
The lung, the kidney,
this is unbelievable.
believe.
The flavor of Makassar, yeah?
Yes, flavor of Makassar.
How often do you eat this?
For Makassar's people, they eat 2 bowls and then 5 ketupats
In one day.
in the morning for
In the morning.
breakfast. Yes. So before they going to work.
So I could
going
just take
to
this and I could
office.
eat them both and it
Yes.
would be normal.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Makassar, the home of about 1.4 million people, all centered around Paotere Harbor, standing since at least the year 1420 and quite possibly the oldest port still in operation in all of Southeast Asia. There have been people living here in the footprint of this city for a very long time. This is where stone tools were discovered tracing back more than 1 million years, and where evidence says the Austronesians planted their very first rice fields on their way to settling everywhere. But beyond that, until we reach the Middle Ages, we kind of have to use our imagination, because the thing about a place like this, so far off the radar of the outside world, is the line gets blurry between fact and fiction, history and mythology. Each of the 4 local ethnic groups has a different story explaining when and how this city was founded, and a different explanation for the meaning of Makassar. To the Mandarese, it's Maka Kasar, a place that gives strength. The Buginese call it Manka Sarati, or the place where the prophet appeared. And the Makassarese say it's just Mankasara. The best translation I can come up with is the land of the people who don't mess around, which is also a fitting description of OTR on a food trip to find the best stuff. There's a standard rule that applies for anyone coming to a place that defies easy explanation, and that's to find a person who knows more than you do, and just let them take the lead. So since our goal is to get as deep as we can into Makassar's cuisine, well, for our second stop, we're tagging along with Saiful to where he goes without us for his own morning meal. So we're here to film a food video.
Yes.
One thing I can tell, we've been here for 10 hours since we landed yesterday.
Yes.
Is everybody's very proud of the food. When we as a foreigner, you're walking around, people are literally just saying to us, I hope you try Coto Makassar. I hope you try
Konro.
Yeah.
So-
So tell me a little bit about, just very briefly, and then we'll talk about this stuff, but I just want you to kind of explain the pride, how proud local people are of the food in Makassar.
Yes, okay. So, because if you stay in South Sulawesi, it means that we are here collaborate with 4 main tribes. So we have Makassar, we have Buginese, we have Mandaris and Torajanis. So 4 kinds. So it means that these 4 kinds of tribes, they actually have a special characteristic of food. For example, in Buginese, they have kapurung, they have barobo, and then they have palumara, and then for Makassar, they have Coto Makassar, soup Konro, soup kikil, Pallubasa, and many more others. And then if we are going to the another, for example, Tanah Toraja, they have papiong, buffalo meats, cooked inside the bamboo, meat with some leaves, local leaves there. And then we moved to Mandar. Actually, Mandar already separated from South Sulawesi, becoming an independent province. We call it West Sulawesi. So, but there, but right now we still have that dance that all culture tribes are mixed, becoming one dance. We call it four tribe dance. So that's why in Mandar they have Jepa, they have many specific, and then every local tribes has their own characteristic of food that make it different than other tribes.
When the first Europeans arrived in Makassar, they assumed Sulawesi was an archipelago, not a single island. Thanks to the unique geography with long and narrow peninsulas and almost impassable mountains inland, the countless local tribes lived in isolation, trading and traveling on the water, even to visit the next settlement over. And that meant massive diversity in culture and cuisine. Saiful, our guide, is Buginese, descended from a people who traced their heritage back to the first Austronesians. For the Bugis people, their ancestral home is Watampone, better known as Bone, about 100 kilometers to the northeast. They represent the largest ethnic group in the province by population, and while the Makassaris were spice traders, hence aromatic dishes like Coto Makassar, the Buginese were and still are fishermen, seafood at the center of their own way of life.
A philosophy that can be taken from this food actually is not only how to eat these foods. After, for example, we buy a bread and then we eat it and that's all. But there is a philosophy of Buginese people how to eat this kind of food, because the first one is togetherness. Because in making kapurung, not only one people make it, but it can be 10 or it can be more than 10, because you see that many kinds of ingredients inside. So therefore, one people or one person can take care about the papeda, and then one people can take care about the long green bean, and then the spinach, and then the shrimp, the fish, and then the chicken, and then they mix the peanuts inside. So when they staying together in making this food, they making positive gossiping. So we are close each other, we are far away from our village, but this food make us unite. Lokka kipay di Jupandang or di Luwu or di Bone manre kapurung. Nasabi kapurung de gaga di tompo na Linoy hanyang ka di Makassar and Bugis.
Perfect, thank you. How do I eat this? Show me what I should do. that's not the texture I expected. That's firm. So the banana's inside something
Yes,
else. That
banana's
green thing is
inside.
not the banana. There's
Yes.
banana inside this.
Yes.
Let me try this first. I'm just getting ice, syrup, and
Sauce. The sauce is sweet.
sweet but mild, not super sweet. I don't want to drip this all over everything else. Let's try the banana. This is one of the strangest things I've ever eaten. All right, this is mine. You guys can finish the rest of it. In 1511, a small fleet of Portuguese ships arrived by accident in Makassar, while searching, of course, for an island of gold. This was the first documented contact between Europeans and Sulawesi, the first time Western boats sailed this far off the map to the southeast, and right away it was clear that something was different. For the next few decades, every visitor to Makassar would make some note of the obvious. Somehow nothing here, no plants or animals, looked quite like anything they'd ever seen before. Everything was just a little bit off. But nobody could explain why that was until 250 years later when the biologist Alfred Russel Wallace drew a line on a map, explaining that basically during the last ice age, the oceans were lower so there was a land bridge connecting Papua to Australia. But it didn't stretch all the way to mainland Asia. There was a narrow, and I mean tiny channel of frigid, deep ocean, the Wallace Line. For more than 100,000 years, life on either side had evolved independently, entire ecosystems forming so complete that to this day, native birds won't fly between Bali and Lombok, even though they're literally side by side, because Bali was on the west and Lombok the east of the Wallace Line. For all of modern history, as cultures and kingdoms came in contact with these strange islands, they'd encounter new ingredients previously unknown, things that didn't exist anywhere else. Stuff like bananas, along with taro and sago, obviously cloves and nutmeg. There was pandan and a whole lot more, and all of it, well, even if it wasn't from here, well, with almost no exceptions, it was introduced to the outside world from Makassar, the only harbor east of the Wallace Line that was consolidating goods for trade. Now, all of that is a complicated way to say that I've been working in the food world for a very long time. I've been lucky enough to get to travel, cook, or film in a lot of different places, and after a while, you see enough that you almost forget what it's like to be completely mind-blown, to find anything that you never even knew existed. But we are in a place that's the only real city in eastern Indonesia, somewhere that once controlled trade with the Spice Islands in a region where the population includes 4 of the most fascinating ethnic groups I'd never heard of. All of this in a city nominated for UNESCO Culinary Heritage, using ingredients from the other side of the Wallace Line so unknown that less than 800 foreigners a month actually come here. So, f*** it, let's just eat.
Untuk semua warga yang atau orang Indonesia, orang di mana kalau mau makan makanan Makassar kesini di Songkolo Bagadang, timbang alhamdulillah sudah 20 tahun lebih.
So this is one of the 5 key dishes in Makassar traditional dishes, right? So this is Pallubasa. So Pallubasa actually the meat use cow meat. It's just the same with Coto Makassar. It's soup Konro. At the middle of night, especially for new couple just got married, so the men need the stamina. So that's why here we have some yellow eggs.
The raw
yellow eggs, the raw yellow eggs, and then put it together with the sauce of the Pallubasa and directly boiled inside. We call it Jalangkote. Jalangkote, but
this is heavy, by the way. I just wanted a little snack. This is like a kilo.
Yes.
I thought we were just going to get a
This
little.
is a super jumbo Jalangkote.
Oh my gosh, I don't need super jumbo anything
Super
right now. We
jumbo,
have so
yeah.
many more meals ahead of us.
Yes. Ponto Regency.
I see.
So they have
Not here in the city.
Not here in the city. Yes, that's the best ever. But most of my friends said this one is also good. So that's why when we are in Makassar, most of my friends from travel agency recommended this place.
Really?
But I myself never been there before. Honestly, I always eat Coto Kuda in Ponto because in Ponto, the tradition there when a man marry a woman, they should bring at least 2 horses. If you a man and do not bring that 2 horses, so there will be a head of culture custom will not coming to your party. It means that you are not allowed, you know.
Yeah. Tell us what's in the bowl.
Ya, jadi apa namanya Ibu yang di mangkuk?
Konro kuda.
That's so good.
Enak.
Everybody's filming us. Very good.
Also, Buginese people do like
Same
like
thing, yeah.
Same. Means that it's very good. Nothing less, you know.
All right, so the centerpiece of this museum that you told me last night, you said we
Yes.
really want to come here, even though it's a little bit of a drive, because you wanted to show us
Yes.
this map.
This
So-
is the maps of the under
Indonesia.
the master of King of Goa. King of Goa. So you know from here all Kalimantan, all Sulawesi, yes, and then some in Lombok. So here we have the name of the street also from the hero. It's close because they have a close relationship with one of hero. We call it Jalan Maipa Diapati. It's actually the daughter of the king of Mataram in Lombok. So Lombok everywhere is also under the king of Goas. And not only that.
So wait, hold on. Just to be clear, so this
This
is the
area.
Goa Sultanate. This
Yes.
was the Kingdom of Goa.
The king of Goa.
Wow. So, and where
Very large.
are we right now? So show me where
Here.
Makassar is. So we're right
Ujung
here
Pandang, yes.
in South
South.
Sulawesi.
Yes.
So this, for anybody watching, this is Sulawesi. We're here, but the Kingdom of Goa had this much
Yes.
land. And this actually circles the top of Australia.
Yes, this is Australia, right? So this is the Australia. So that's why I explained to you just now that actually we have a close relationship between South Sulawesi people, Makassar's people, Buginese people with Aborigine people. That's why in Brisbane we still find Queenslanders' house, where the Australian people call it Queenslanders' house. But the shape of the house, we call it chopok bola that I showed just now with 5 layers, is actually from Makassar
This
Buginese.
is wild. So there are some dates on here. It says 1626,
Yeah.
1512. What do those mean? Do you know?
Yeah, this is actually the place where they, defeat the king.
There's a reason you've probably never heard of the greatest kingdom in the history of the islands. A reason one of the world's most important cities is now completely off the map. But first, I guess we need to start at the beginning, when a small chiefdom in South Sulawesi became rich growing and selling rice, then started to expand, absorbing much of the surrounding countryside. According to legends, in the year 1320, the head of the clan married a goddess who descended from the sky, and together they founded a great city to serve as the capital of a new empire. They'd call that empire the Goa, and the city Makassar. Now, in the beginning, the Goa was overshadowed by 2 great Buginese kingdoms just to the north, the Luwu and the Bone, a fast-ascending power known for prowess on the water. But the Goans formed an alliance with the Buginese to expand their overseas connections, and then opened their harbor to Malays from Malacca to build a new trading post. As money came in, the Goa declared Makassar to be a city of unrestricted free trade and freedom of religion. In other words, anyone was welcome and anyone could stay. Within 100 years, it was a small melting pot, home to merchants from the 4 regional ethnic groups, along with populations of Chinese, Malays, Papuans, and Australian Aboriginals. And the real growth was coming. It started when a 16th century fight for succession split the Goa in 2, and the breakaway group known as the Talo sailed away from Makassar and wouldn't return for 3 years. They traveled throughout the region, building alliances with the chieftains of the Spice Islands, and as far as the South Pacific and the Malay Peninsula. And at the same time, the Goa, still based in Makassar, were consolidating their own control by strengthening their army, tribesmen carrying the magic Chris knife, striking fear into the hearts of any would-be opponents. In time, the 2 groups would recombine, the wealth and military strength of the Goa and the vast reach of the Talo, creating an empire that would turn Makassar into one of the most important cities in the world. But that would not last for long.
This is actually what we call Aksara Lontara. So we have a traditional alphabet. Makassar language and Buginese language has as well their alphabet. So this is our alphabet. So for me, I should memorize this. Kagangangkap papa mampacajan nyancata dan rayara lawasaaha. So I can read this. If we can't read, our teacher will punish us.
At its peak, the Sultanate of Goa oversaw a territory larger than Western Europe and held a complete monopoly on 3 of the most valuable spices on the planet. Their army was feared across the island, and on the water, well, their boats were the envy of the world, fast and agile and numbering in the thousands. Today, all that survives is pretty much confined to this building, a makeshift museum in a rebuilt version of the old Sultan's palace, just a short distance away from the one that used to run an empire. So what is the actual story of Makassar? Well, for that, we need to pick up in 1565. The Goa so powerful that they no longer needed their alliance with the neighbors, the Buginese of Bone, so they canceled the deal and stripped all financial rights from their old partners. The Bugis would rebel, and the fight between the 2 sides would last almost 100 years, off and on, but to the Goa at least an annoyance. So in 1660, Makassar would put an end to the uprisings by sending in their entire army and annihilating Bone. So brutal was the massacre that word of it got back to Java, where the Dutch in Batavia came up with the plan. They'd long sought control over the great city, a path to their own dominance in the spice trade, but every attempted invasion had been turned back, and often in humiliating defeat. So the Dutch governor sent a letter to Bonet offering their leader an alliance. And in 1666, as Dutch warships arrived at Makassar, thousands of Buginese poured in from the north, and that was that for the Sultanate of Goa. Now, as for what would happen next, well, there are kind of two answers. In Makassar, the Dutch would tear down the great Fort Sombu Opa and build a new stronghold on top called Fort Rotterdam, the city becoming the capital of a brand new colony known as Celebes. The next 300 years would follow a not unusual storyline. The Dutch broke their alliance with the Buginese, siphoned off the island's money and resources, and left behind ruins when they were finally chased out in the 1940s. But far more interesting is what happened to the survivors who fled when the Dutch took over. While the Makassar king Hasanuddin fought to the end and died on Sulawesi, his son, along with 250 nobles, took refuge in Ayutthaya, invited by the Siamese king Narai the Great. He granted them a swath of land, but soon enough they'd find themselves accused of a plot to overthrow the Thai monarchy. King Narai's soldiers stormed the settlement, but with Chris knives in hand, the Makassaris charged into battle and started swinging, on the first day supposedly killing 3,000 of Siam's best soldiers, and losing only 50 men. The next day they'd dispatch even more, French and English officers included, and when the onslaught was finally put down, so grudgingly impressed were the Thais that they honored the fighters as heroes, and to this day, there's a neighborhood named in their honor in Bangkok. And even wilder, it was from that battle that a new phrase would enter the lexicon. The Makassaris called their fighting tactic amok, and it's in English accounts of these events where we first hear about people, quote, running amok. The Makassan district in Bangkok is not the only place still bearing the name of the Old Kingdom. There's a Makassar in South Africa, one in Mozambique, and another in East Timor, all named in honor of refugees from the city who fled in the 1600s. And as for the Buginese, well, when they were double-crossed by the Dutch, many fled their homes and lived completely on the water, causing trouble for the ships coming and going into harbor, and striking so much fear into the hearts of the colonists that locals claimed the Dutch would warn their children to behave, or the scary Bugisman would get them. The root of another term that we all know today, and one more legacy of the forgotten fall of Makassar.
Okay, yes. Oh, you will see the crown of the king. Okay, let's go.
How many times have you been back here in this room?
This room?
Yeah.
Wow, it's only special guest. Okay, problem.
So we don't tell anybody we're going back here right now.
This is what we call salokwa. So this is a real gold, only open and then can be touched by only several people. So it's almost 2 kilograms. But Goa peoples believes that because when we celebrate the ceremony, we call Acuci Kalompam. It means that all these things should be put it out and then wash it with special ingredients, because it's gold, right? This is gold and more than 250 leontine.
Do you have any idea how old this is?
This one?
Yeah.
Yes.
How old? How many years?
Yes, in 13th century.
This is the original crown?
Yes, because the queen at the time used wear it, directly from the sky.
I'm going to be honest, if I hadn't tried to find the history of Makassar, it would have been easy to come and visit without ever knowing this place used to matter. That a lot of stuff happened right here. It's not even an hour to fly here from Bali. In row 23 of a Lion Air 787, you kind of lose whatever awe there might have been hundreds of years ago, spotting the harbor after a long sail beyond the edge of the map. Obviously, this is no longer the only place to buy cloves and nutmeg and cinnamon. Today, all three are so common you can find them in your pumpkin spice latte. And the old empire fell so long ago that we can't even decide what it was actually called. The Goa Talo, or the Sultanate of Makassar. The king's house that we just visited was rebuilt in 1936. And the Great Mosque, the symbol of the city, well, that goes all the way back to 2022. Makassar is modernizing fast, the gateway to eastern Indonesia once again finding importance. though in a very different way. But along the coast, Paotere Harbor, well, somehow that's still there. The exact same spot where the Goa trading ships fanned out heading to ports unknown. The place where Australian Aboriginals once sold sea cucumber to Chinese buyers, and where the Dutch arrived in 1666, then ran their own trade for the next 300 years. Even now, the boats of the Bugis, the Mandarese, and the Makassaris come and go, carrying the people and goods that once changed the course of history.
A lot of guests just now in the day, so that's why they have not less. Yes. For example, you want shrimp, you want fish, you just and then they will bake for us. 15 menit ada ya?
Iya,
15 minutes.
Paling lama itu.
15 minutes? 10 to 15 minutes.
Every morning for the last half-century, the staff at Rumah Makan Paotere visit the docks before the sunrise to pick out the day's best fish. By dinner time, the selection's dwindled, but for us, that doesn't really matter, because what's left is still some of the best seafood on the planet, and anyway, half the fun is just watching the masters at work, preparing a meal beloved right here for the last few hundred years.
So for this day, we actually have a lot of food. We already eaten, right? But this one is kind of a special because it's another traditional, not traditional food, but it is a seafood. So we eat fish. Actually, is the normal for Makassar people. So why? Because in Makassar, when we have 200,000 money and then we buy fish in the fish market, and then we can eat fish for 1 week or 2 weeks.
You were making the joke about, oh, my grandfather was a
Yes,
a fisher,
yes.
but was a sailor. But do you actually know anything about your family ancestry? You know, who your ancestors were? You know, were they fishing? Were they fighting? Who were your family?
Okay, because long time ago, since the civil war started at the time between tribes, you know. So at the time they used the PDC boat to live, you know, and then they do not going ashore every ashore. They just stay in the boat and then making the trading, you know, make the trading. You know, for example, they make 1 point to meet each other, trading the rice, trading the many kinds of natural resources that they taken from another another port to another port. Until there is a story from the Europe, American, and Australian that actually we have a bubugi. They tell this story to their children. So before their children going to sleep, they tell that go to sleep quickly because the bubugi will come. So the bubugi actually is pirates. Yeah, but they regard that. So that's why they regard that Buginese is pirates. Not actually, because long time ago they just live in the sea for many years. They don't stay in a shore. So that's why they trading. They every single life that they have spending above the boat. So that's why they call a very talented or skillful sailing. For seafood in Makassar, normally we have at least minimum 4 kinds of sauce, and they should be mixed together. For example, this one, I put this one. We call it racha taipa. So this is actually quite swarm, because it's a young mango. So we put here. And this one is peanuts, also peanuts mixed with some also some chili.
Okay.
For example, like this. And after that,
I'll do it when we're filming. I'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just watch
and
you
then
do it
after
now.
that, this one is tomato, dabu-dabu tomato. It's already mixed with a chili actually.
Okay.
So we also put here together. Okay.
I would have done this completely wrong if I was by myself. I would have
Yes.
just eaten everything like
No.
like tapas.
And then we everywhere you stay in when you stay in Makassar, for example, when we eat, we should mix with fresh lime.
Yeah.
Like this. Okay, and then last we still have more. This is what we call sambal tumis. So sambal tumis is also mixed here. And then we directly take. Sorry to broke the fish. For example, this one. We directly take this one. Okay, and then take here.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm so
and
excited.
then
This looks
we
so good.
directly eat it. We directly eat it with kemangi. Just like this.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's dive in, Dennis. Let's just start eating.
Okay.
Cheers! Thank you so much for bringing us here. I'm really excited.
You must be welcome.
Everything today is great. This looks
My
incredible.
honor to introduce you everything in my region.
Somehow,
Sulawesi.
I'm still hungry enough to eat. I thought I was going to be completely like, oh, let's just get through it. I want to eat everything on the table right now.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a reason here on OTR we don't usually do this. Tape a video in a place we've never been before. It's hard, like, how do you put into words what something like this is actually like when you can't even explain it yourself? I mean, we're sitting here eating the traditional food of the tribes of Sulawesi, served at a restaurant inside a 700-year-old market that was once the heart of the global spice trade. It's a wild experience. I hope somehow it translates. We came on this trip because you told us that Makassar was a place with incredible food. And you're right. I mean, if UNESCO is watching, I can't think of anywhere more deserving than Makassar for recognizing culinary heritage. But this is not a city for a casual food trip. Here, everything, including the cuisine, is so layered that it opens up the kind of rabbit hole that might take years to fully unravel. In some ways, I feel like our story is incomplete. This is the, quote, gateway to the East, the other side of the Wallace line in a completely different world in almost every single way. Here, it's absolutely a place where the food is very much about the people, and trying to understand their cultures and histories in a short visit is impossible. But then again, just hang on, I think I just lost my train of thought. Maybe with one meal left, I should just relax and do what everybody else seems to do in this incredible city. Enjoy the food. And finally, we've arrived at our final meal in Makassar. It's called Konro, the dish so over the top it's responsible for multiple Mark Wien's thumbnail photos. It is, of course, beef ribs, stewed for almost a whole day, then blackened over coconut charcoal or just served in the broth. A local delicacy and an exclamation point on an all-time day of eating.
All right, just a little light snack to end the day. Right now, Saiful is the least popular person in Makassar.
Okay.
The most hated person in Makassar, because I didn't know this. They were about to sell out of ribs this afternoon, and you called the restaurant and you said, we're going to come tonight.
Yep.
And you know you've been here before enough times, you know the owner.
Yeah.
And she agreed to hold the last portions for us.
Yes.
So even since we've been sitting here, people keep coming and trying to order.
and
They
trying
say,
to
no,
order, but it's
we
already
sold
gone.
out
Yes, sold
while
out.
it's sitting on our
Yeah.
table. So very quickly, I'm going to ask you one really hard question.
Okay.
And then we're gonna just eat. How would you explain in a short 1 minute or less? Now that we've been doing this all day, we've eaten at 1,000 different restaurants. We've had a million different dishes. How would you explain the food of Makassar? Is there a way you could summarize it? Just an overall kind of flavor or feeling or idea? How would you just?
Yes. Okay, so I will describe like this. The taste of the food in Makassar it must be a difference with all region in all countries all over the world. The taste of the food always make me, when we are far away from home, and then we missed the food. Our sense feels like we're gonna go back home for food. For Konro, for Coto, for Pallumara, for Pallubasa, for everything, it's gonna feel. I want to go back home soon. For example, when we are in the students, we always miss our mother's result of cooking, because we miss it. It's make our feeling in home become reunite, because of these kinds of food.
We always do this. We've done it with a few people today. We do this in a lot of our videos where we ask the chefs to invite people to come, look into the camera and invite people to come to their restaurant.
Yes.
Now you, as our VIP guest for the shoot today,
Okay.
can you invite people to come to Makassar?
Okay, so everyone, we already filming many kinds of food around Makassar, all the traditional food, the seafood, and we 100% completely sure that if you come to Makassar, you will feel something different, something different than another area, another region all over the world. We are guaranteed 100% sure for that, and we will accompany you to explore your sense of taste, because in Makassar you will find differently than other words. So my message for you, do not die before you coming to Makassar for tasting many kinds of food here. Thank you.
Thank you. Man, such a good time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You must be welcome.
Let's eat.
Okay.
Subscribe to the channel for more from OTR. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us on Patreon. It really keeps us going. Find links below to our Patreon and social media, and we'll see you soon.
You know, one of the worst things about having a YouTube channel, I have a huge TV at home, and I have to watch all the drafts of these videos. So every day I have to watch all of our footage. We're filming in like 4K HD, watching on a big screen, watching myself eat. Nobody wants to watch themselves eat. It's the worst thing to see. Who wants to watch me eat?
Yourself.
And
You watch yourself?
I have to. It's in the videos. I don't want to. It's horrible. But this, I'm just like, I can see in Dennis's camera just how gross this is going to end up looking. But I don't care. I'm not going to not eat it. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I'm not stuffed. I was so full 5 minutes ago, and now I want to eat every bite of this. All right, great shoot, guys. Dennis, come eat. Come make a mess of yourself too.